My name's Michael Gore. I'm an RN. I'm an Army vet. Many experiences in my life. We're just going to go over boundaries today. So, when we talk about maybe what we're feeling inside, and we don't really understand what's going on, and we keep going through these cycles. So, we keep repeating the same thing in our life and we're not happy. We don't like, oh, that doesn't feel good, but we keep doing it. Why do we keep doing it? Why do we keep doing the thing that we all know we don't want to do anymore? This can be work, relationship, any type of addiction. This can be any type of response to an experience in your past, PTSD, one that I'm very familiar with. Trauma, it can be anything. So let's just talk a little bit about what a boundary is. So I have this diagram here, the triangle. You have your past, your present, and your future. It's a very simple concept that you can apply across a multitude of experiences because it's coming from you. It's coming from a place that you want to be. And I'll explain more of that as we go. So a boundary is taking your past and what you feel like and making the future of what you want your life to be like. So for example, let's say I have a past, or I have a experience in the military, for example. Let's use an experience like that where, death happened, or this traumatic, you got blown up or shot at. You have these experiences that what happens is you don't really have time to process them. So you can relate that to even if you had experience as a child, or you weren't given something as a child that you needed to know that you felt empowered, or it can be across many platforms, right? So you have this past experience, and this past experience makes you feel like, oh my God, some people shut down, some people have to go on a run, some people have to work out. These are healthy outlets. Some people go to drinking, some people go to drugs, some people go to over talking, some people go to under talking. We just feel so much, and we're trying to find our way out of it to not feel that anymore. And this is all going to make sense with boundaries in a second. So you have these past experiences, right? These past feelings. Okay? And these feelings are from an event. Now, what happens is when you have these feelings from that event, all of a sudden it goes straight up into your present moment. And you don't know what to do, as we just talked about. So all these feelings are going on, and what is actually happening is that in this present moment, this past emotion, this past energy, emotion, this past experience is actually coming into your present reality. So that past reality of that experience, because those emotions, even if it goes 20, 30, 40, 5 years, whatever years or days or hours, you can recall that emotion at any time in your life. You know exactly what it felt like to be in that position. Now, usually what happens is people say 20 years down the road, 10 years down the road, like, oh my God, how could I have let myself do that? And it takes these 10 years. Well, this is a way to understand how to make that happen, to decrease the length of time that happens in. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that happens in 10 years, but this gives you a higher level of thinking to understand how to work through these and create the life you want instead of waiting for life to respond. So what I mean by that is you have the past and you have the present. So this past experience is now dictating your present feelings, okay? So this could be from a breakup, this could be from anything. So these present feelings, all of a sudden you're like, what do I want to do? So when these past feelings come into your present moment, you have a potential of doing something. So the next step you take towards your future can either be coming from the past into the present to the future, or the option is to come from the future to the present. Well, how do you do that? How do I know what it feels like to be in the future of who I want to be? And these are more talks that are coming about creating who you want to be, the experiences you want, what you want to feel like, what you want to think like, what you want to act like, everything. And that'll be a different topic. Today, we're just talking about boundaries and creating the future from these boundaries. So what you do is you feel this future. Okay, I have a choice. Let's say this past feeling was anger. Okay, I'm going to take anger into the present moment. And this anger potential builds. So here's anger, it's at the bottom from the past. I'm going to let, maybe it's just a little bit, and then something else happens, and then the kids, and then this. And this anger just keeps building. Okay, and just keeps building until it gets so big that you feel you have to do something so that you don't feel it anymore. And that's a very important concept to understand, is that what you're doing, if you make a choice from that potential of anger, is actually creating the reality or life you want. And then you might have to say sorry, or you might project something, or it might not be the reality. You didn't want that. That's not what you originally wanted. You just didn't want to feel anger. We're just using anger as an example. So the next step you take, you have a choice. From this choice, you either can go this potential of anger, you can either go to the future from anger, or from the future back to the present. So what I mean by that is, what would the person you want to be do? What would they act like? What would they think like? What would they feel like? So once you understand that what you want to become, you understand what you don't want, and that's where boundaries come in. So once you understand what you don't want, you make boundaries in order to facilitate that reality. So a boundary, for example, if I'm in anger and a future, like, okay, what would it feel like to be the person to where anger, I don't make a choice out of anger? Because what we're talking about is the potential and a choice out of that potential emotion. Okay, so if I was grateful in this moment, where could I find gratitude? Oh, wait, okay, because let's say you want to be a grateful person. Let's say that's one of the things one of the emotions you want it to be. The person you're creating. Well, I want to be a grateful person. So if I'm a grateful person, what would they do? Oh. Or maybe I want to be a wise person. It can be a plethora of emotions. Okay, what would a wise person do? Well, we know a wise person wouldn't make certain choices, right? They would be able to observe the anger and say, oh, what is in this anger that's showing me how to catapult to where I want to be and who I want to be? Because now you're stopping that potential of anger and making a choice from the future emotion that you want, like gratitude. Where can I find gratitude while I'm so angry and uncomfortable? Because you're really uncomfortable inside. And that's a real reality. It's a real thing. But as soon as you make a choice, you make that reality happen. So if you make a choice from who you want to be, and you make boundaries around that choice, let's say it's a cycle of this person always saying this to your life, or you feel like you have to be their friend or their sister or your brother or anything like that. All of a sudden you make a choice like, look, this situation makes me angry. And so if this is going to continue, I don't know if I'm able to be your friend at this point. And that's the truth. So you have to face that objective truth. But what you're doing there is making a boundary of saying, I don't want this reality anymore that I keep feeling angry about. And so the boundary I'm going to make is going to say, well, if that's what I start to feel, then I don't think I should be around this person, which means I don't want to be in this reality anymore. I want to be in the one I want to create. I want to be in the one where I'm grateful for my life. I'm creating my life. And it doesn't mean you get rid of everyone and everything. It says, at this time, I might need space because I'm really uncomfortable. And what happens is when you take that space to sit with the uncomfortableness, you get really clear about what you want and what you don't want in your life. And that's where boundaries come into play. You start realizing, well, I don't want to be in this situation. I don't want to go out and drink every night anymore because I don't want to feel that way. It's not because someone's telling me it's the wrong thing, the right thing. It's because you don't want to feel that way. And you actually have a choice. You can do that with anything. Let's say for drinking, you actually have a choice. Addiction. So your past is saying, oh, I need this alcohol or whatever. I need it. Oh wait, I know something inside of me is saying, don't drink, but I feel the need to do it. I have to do it. Otherwise, this experience, I'm going to have to sit with. This past experience, I'm going to have to sit with. And you understand when you're able to sit with something and observe it from here, from who you want to be, not who you were, all of a sudden, what do you get? You get wisdom in the present moment. You get wisdom to say, if I keep walking this way, this is what's going to happen. I already know that, but what would it feel like to come from that place, that person I want to be? Well, I would take a step this direction. Holy crap. Look at this. I just created a whole new reality. Look at all these people and things that are happening in my life because I made a choice. Not based on who I was or what has happened to me, but based on who I want to be. And all of a sudden you make those choices over and over again. You hold those boundaries to protect that vision of who you want to be. Then all of a sudden you become that because you've memorized it and you know the feeling. That's like we use gratitude, just like anger, but we use gratitude and we went up, and we memorized that, and that potential got so big, it became a reality all the way back to the present moment. And you can do this over and over and over and over and over again until you get the life that you've always wanted. The one that's inside of you, in your heart, not in your brain. The one that you always dreamed of. But what are you willing to do to get it? Are you willing to have boundaries to evacuate and get rid of everyone or everything in your life that doesn't equate to that future? If you want to be a millionaire, you're going to keep working this 9-to-5 job, or you're going to start working on the side. Are you going to start doing something? What would a millionaire do? You see, if you place yourself in the future and start working backwards, all of a sudden, what you're getting is the feelings of what it feels like to be that person. You're having a future experience. And because you have a future experience, it's something you can build upon. Because you start envisioning what it would be like to be that person. And you hold that feeling. And then all of a sudden, you know exactly what boundaries you need to make because it's like, oh, wait, that doesn't feel, it feels more like the past than the future. And because it feels more like the past than the future, there's something here for me to sit with in my present moment. Oh, I can sit with this. I can do this. And all of a sudden become empowered to make a choice from here to affect the present instead of the past affecting the present. And you do this over and over and over again until all of a sudden it becomes what? Part of your subconscious. It becomes part of you. So, in review real quick before we end this, just remember, practice what it feels like. Write down what it feels like to be that future person. Because your life isn't going to end. All of a sudden, it's not going to flip and turn peaches and rainbows. What's going to happen is you're going to feel friction you're going to feel all this friction right here like this. This is your reality from your past and your future. You're going to feel all this friction all the way to your present. But what's going to happen is it's going to start going like this. And all of a sudden, you're going to be back to here. I know the board's a little sloppy now. It wasn't so sloppy in the beginning, but that's what's going to happen. And you're going to realize you're going to do whatever it takes to protect. What you end up finding is self-love, and you can end up protecting it because you understand that your happiness doesn't reside outside of you, that you can actually create it. So this is the process of creating your happiness. People say happiness is a choice. True, but I like to say it's a creation. It's something you create that is already there, is free. It's free. We all know it doesn't reside in money and everything else that's material. But what is it? Well, happiness is an entity on its own. It's free. And once you understand you create from happiness, instead of creating from your past, which could be a plethora of things that we talked about, well then all of a sudden you start making different choices, which lead to what? Different outcomes in your life. And what you'll find again is that you'll make boundaries to protect that life because that life you created is the one you created. And you're so much happier with that life than anything you were before, any relationship you had or anything like that. It is so, you created it. It's the one that you live in. And unconsciously right now, a lot of people create from here, the past. And they produce the same results, the same things that keep creating from the same emotion. So once you understand that, all of a sudden you have a formula to creation and now reaction of the past. So, well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll have much more. Thank you.